This presentation looks at competitive strategies. There are essentially three elements for a successful competitive strategy. These are said to be it must be unique, sustainable, and relevant. The unique aspect means that nobody else is doing it, and coupled with sustainability means that it is not easily replicated by your competitors. This is the difficult element in a highly competitive market. Relevant means that it is relevant to the customer, which then maintains the customer focus required for success in today's business environment. Professor Michael Porter of Harvard Business School highlighted two aspects of competitive advantage. The first is the basis of competition and is concerned with positioning the company in the marketplace. This could either be cost-driven, leading to a strategy of cost leadership, or value-driven, leading to a strategy of differentiation. The second aspect is that of competitive scope, and is deciding whether to target the whole industry or just a market sector. We could describe it as targeting the broad market or a focus market. Let's look at cost leadership in more detail. A cost leadership strategy seeks to achieve the position of the lowest cost producer in the industry. By achieving the lowest cost production, a manufacturer can compete on price with every other producer in the market and earn the higher unit profits. There are several strategies that aid a strategy of cost leadership. Economies of scale. Economies of scale require high volumes of production and possibly a limited variation in the product offering, that is, a standardization of products. However, in mature markets, they may become fragmented as the focus moves towards products targeted at specific segments of the market, and this can undermine the cost advantage as the cost base rises and some of our economies of scale are lost. Technological advantage. The use of technology to help enhance productivity and reduce costs. Techniques such as computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacture, and just-in-time purchases, as well as inventory management systems and flexible manufacturing systems aid this process. Exploiting the effects of the learning curve. Organisations can be more efficient over time, and as the expertise increases, this can result in lower average unit costs. This makes it more difficult for new entrants who have less expertise in the production process to obtain the same degree of efficiency. Lean thinking. Operating under the principles of lean thinking and minimising overhead costs by constantly looking to eliminate inefficiencies in the systems. Techniques such as quality management and careful control of the costs of quality aid this process. Using low-cost suppliers. Utilising low-cost suppliers, perhaps from overseas suppliers where labour costs may be lower. This is only an advantage to the extent that competitor organisations do not adopt the same policy. Also, movements in the exchange rates can be exploited to import supplies. However, an adverse movement can undermine this advantage if it is not possible to pass on the cost increases to customers. And finally, let's look at location. We could locate in less expensive areas, such as an out-of-town location or where government grants are available. However, there could be a trade-off in the cost of production versus transportation costs if the production is undertaken at a distance from the market. The most advantageous scenario is where low-cost production can be undertaken close to the market served. Let's move on to look at differentiation. Differentiation is providing a product or service that is significantly different to the competitor offering, and that difference is valued by the customer. Competitive advantage is gained through the particular characteristics of an organisation's products which satisfy customer needs more directly or better than their competitors. As with cost leadership, there are several techniques that can be used to aid a strategy of differentiation. A strong brand image. The development of a strong brand image can help to create a barrier to entry as it takes time and money to develop the brand. New products and product variations can be developed from a strong corporate or product brand. In today's environment, taking care not to damage the corporate brand is a significant factor in maintaining the corporate image, especially in the context of corporate scandals or celebrity endorsements which go wrong. Indeed, accounting scandals of late, such as accounting fraud or tax avoidance, can also impact on an organisation's brand. Developing features and functionality that provide the differentiating factor. A key element here is that the differentiating factor must be valued by the customer to support a higher price. Techniques such as value engineering and target costing can be utilised to help develop viable products that have distinctive features to the competition. There is a danger, however, that in poor economic conditions, such as a recession, demand for differentiated products may reduce as consumers switch to more basic low-cost providers. Augmenting the product to provide additional elements such as after-sales service support. Techniques such as the analysis of the value system can be utilised to help determine where value can be added to the customer. Utilising effective marketing campaigns. The consumer markets are becoming much more sophisticated, and the differentiating factors of the product need to be clearly communicated to consumers, so the product needs to be backed by an effective marketing campaign. And finally, let's look at the focus strategy. Here, an organisation concentrates its attention on one or more particular segments or niche markets and does not try to serve the entire market. Information technology can be useful in establishing the exact determining characteristics of the chosen niche, probably using existing customer records. For example, an analysis of the customer base using customer profitability analysis may indicate a highly profitable segment in which the organisation has a competitive advantage, and therefore the adoption of a focus strategy may be beneficial. A focus strategy is often said to be adopted by organisations that lack the resources to service the total market. It can, however, be a conscious decision to focus on a segment, regardless of the resources available. The focus of the strategy can be on cost or differentiation. A cost-focused strategy aims to be the cost leader for a particular segment, and a differentiation-focused strategy pursues a differentiation policy but within a chosen segment. The focus of the strategy could be based on a particular type of customer. The organisation is able to focus its resources on satisfying the needs of a particular customer segment, and thus does not necessarily spread itself too thinly by trying to satisfy a range of customers. The difficulty here, though, is that the organisation is limited somewhat to the growth in the market sector. Focus on an aspect of production or product. For example, focuses on the production of a component part, or a highly specialised production process that has limited applications. In the 1980s, it was suggested that trying to do both cost leadership and a differentiation at the same time is not a viable long-run strategy. So let's illustrate this diagrammatically. Let's assume we have a cost leader. They have low costs and can charge a reasonable price and make a reasonably high profit. If we then look at the differentiator, because they are offering a product that has higher functionality or service levels, they will have a higher cost level. But because the difference is valued by the customer, they can charge a high price, and therefore still make a reasonably high profit. Now let's assume we have someone who comes into the middle of the market. What they are trying to do is to match the product offering of the differentiator and therefore have the same cost base as the differentiator. But they're also trying to match the price of the cost leader, and therefore, as you can see, they are going to have a lower profit. This could be successful in the short term, as the competitor in the middle will attract customers from both the cost leader and the differentiator. In the long run, however, the cost leader and the differentiator will react. Let's assume that the cost leader reduces their price and still makes a profit, albeit a smaller profit than before. The differentiator is likely to reduce its price as well, and again makes less profit, but is still profitable. Now the original customers of the differentiator will revert back to them, probably due to the established nature of the brand name. And the cost leader will also now probably get some of its customers back because it's the lowest price in the market. So the stuck in the middle competitor will need to respond by reducing its price to the cost leader, where it had aligned its pricing strategy on original entry to the market. Now the profitability of the stuck in the middle is not sustainable, and is likely that the organisation will fail in the long run. Therefore, in a competitive market, being stuck in the middle is not a sustainable strategy. We do see sectors of the economy where there are organisations that attempt to occupy the middle ground. For example, in food retailing, there are several supermarket chains that suggest they offer quality food at low prices. These, however, are usually businesses that operate in highly competitive markets and operate on low margins. This video is part of a series of short videos that explain specific aspects of the strategic management framework and cover some of the strategy models that can be used in the analysis, formulation, implementation and review and control of strategy, and the role of the management accountant. This presentation is provided as part of the support materials for the book Management Accounting in Support of Strategy by me, Graham S. Pitcher, and published by Business Expert Press.